The strategic conversation is saturated with missile defense, a Golden Dome, a 21st century Manhattan project. This is a deliberate misdirection. While leadership fixates on stopping a high-cost kinetic projectile, the actual vector of systemic attack operates at near-zero cost, as demonstrated by the infrastructure damage from simple Ukrainian drones. The real threat is not a bang, but silence. Not a warhead, but a data packet that fails to arrive. Analysts at RUSI confirm 97% of global data, including trillions in financial transactions, travels through a handful of undersea cables. These are the undefended arteries of economic solvency. The second vector of this silent attack is orbital, satellite blinding. CSIS reports confirm that low-cost, ground-based lasers can permanently disable multi-billion-dollar satellite assets, severing military navigation, communication, and surveillance. This is not a future threat. It is a deployed capability. This protocol creates the Blind Leviathan, a superpower with unparalleled kinetic force, carriers, missiles, armies, but with its eyes and nervous system severed. It cannot see. It cannot communicate. It cannot transact. Faced with this strategic solvency crisis, its only remaining option is a launch-on-warning posture. Escalation is no longer a political choice. It becomes the mathematical endpoint. The prevailing analysis of the war in Ukraine is strategically flawed. It is not a war for territory. It is a solvency crisis. The Kremlin's initial kinetic strategy has devolved into a catastrophic financial liability. Analysis from RUSI confirms the protracted campaign is draining state reserves and has become a significant domestic liability, transforming the operation into an unpopular war. This forces a pivot. When a state's balance sheet for conventional warfare goes negative, its vast military machine becomes a stranded asset, too expensive to deploy, too slow to win. This strategic insolvency is the motive. Weakness, not strength, compels a shift to asymmetric protocols. Russia can no longer afford to win conventionally, so it must change the mathematics of the conflict. The objective is to inflict maximum economic damage at a minimal kinetic cost. We see this blueprint deployed in real time. As reported by Fox News, Ukrainian drone strikes now routinely disable critical Russian infrastructure, leaving hundreds of thousands without power. This is the new vector of attack: low-cost, high-impact asset liquidation. This physical warfare runs parallel to the economic front. Reuters reports that India's central bank is proposing a system to link BRICS digital currencies. This is not a technical upgrade. It is the financial weaponization of a new economic bloc, designed to bleed the dollar-denominated system. The goal is identical to the drone strikes: inflict systemic damage at a cost the West cannot afford to counter symmetrically. Faced with strategic insolvency, a state's final lever is to make the entire system insolvent. The battlefield calculus has inverted. The kinetic cost of attriting a peer competitor has collapsed. Analysis from the Royal United Services Institute, or ROSI, documents the new mathematical reality. A $5 million main battle tank can be neutralized by a $500 FPV drone. This is not warfare. It is an accelerated solvency crisis for a nation's defense portfolio, a 10,000 to 1 cost asymmetry that renders multi-billion-dollar platforms into liabilities. This phenomenon is the democratization of violence, the mass distribution of precision strike capability. The protocol is proven. As Ukrainian drone strikes liquidate Russian energy infrastructure, leaving hundreds of thousands without power, the strategic leverage is undeniable. The conventional response is a strategic trap, a 21st century Manhattan project for missile defense, forcing a legacy power to spend billions defending against an enemy spending thousands. The economic bleed accelerates. This is not a failure of military doctrine. It is the scheduled bankruptcy of a system priced for a war that no longer exists. Do not mistake regional instability for regional chaos. These are not failures of governance, they are laboratories. The gray zone is the designated staging area where the vectors of 21st century warfare are tested and calibrated before deployment against the primary target. Observe the kinetic protocol being perfected. As reported, Ukrainian drone strikes on Russian-controlled territory are not tactical military victories. They are economic warfare blueprints. For a kinetic cost of thousands, they inflict a solvency crisis costing millions, destabilizing infrastructure and demonstrating a repeatable model for bleeding a superpower without a conventional fight. Simultaneously, a financial vector is being staged. The Indian Central Bank's proposal to link BRICS digital currencies is not a trade initiative. It is a weaponized financial architecture. CSIS analysis confirms this bypasses the dollar-based system entirely. Proxy laboratories, such as the stressed economies of nations like South Africa, provide the live-fire environment to test these new protocols and measure their systemic impact before a full-scale economic assault. The legacy power's response is predictable and mathematically flawed, high-cost defensive measures. A 21st century Manhattan Project for missile defense, a Golden Dome, is the reaction to a threat that is not primarily kinetic. It is an attempt to build an expensive shield against an economic siege and low-cost cyber and drone attacks. This asymmetry is the core accelerant of the strategic solvency crisis. The hegemon is being forced to spend billions to defend against an attack that costs pennies. The math does not lie. The Launch on Warning protocol is a relic of Cold War game theory. The logic is absolute. If enemy missiles are detected in the air, you must launch your own before they are destroyed in their silos. It is a protocol designed to prevent a zero-sum outcome, ensuring retaliatory capability. This entire protocol is now a systemic liability. Its functionality is wholly dependent on digital early warning systems, satellites and ground-based radar, which are now a primary attack surface. As multiple reports confirm, neutralizing these cyber-physical systems is no longer theoretical. It is operational doctrine. The vector for this attack is asymmetric and low cost. As seen with Ukrainian drone strikes disabling power grids, critical infrastructure is vulnerable to cheap, mass-produced assets. The kinetic cost to disable a billion-dollar radar network is now measured in thousands of dollars, not millions. This creates the fog of digital war. When a cyber attack blinds the radar, the commander is faced with a binary choice under extreme compression. The screen is blank. Is it a system malfunction, or is it a sophisticated attack masking an incoming first strike? According to CSIS threat models, the protocol itself forces the commander's hand. Waiting for confirmation means risking strategic insolvency, losing the entire arsenal. Launching means acting on zero data. Fear becomes the trigger. The mathematical endpoint is a launch decision made not on information, but on its deliberate absence. Within the next 12 months, anticipate a calibration shot against critical U.S. financial infrastructure. This will not be a purely digital event. Analysts at CSIS warn the blueprint combines the low kinetic cost of infrastructure degradation, as demonstrated by recent drone strikes, source number 2, with advanced cyber attack vectors, source number 4. The target, the physical power and cooling systems of a major data clearing hub, precipitating a systemic liquidity freeze. The event will be officially attributed to catastrophic equipment failure or a sophisticated non-state actor. However, its timing will coincide with a key milestone in the BRICS digital currency linkage project, source number 1, making the signal irrefutable to its intended audience. It is a non-kinetic demonstration of strategic reach, designed to test U.S. response thresholds and calculate the true cost of its economic solvency crisis. This is the pre-escalation phase. The Launch on Warning protocol is now economic.